Do you ever check out what levels have been rated recently? Well, most of them are fine. They can be good, average, or literally perfect. Well, what if they weren't any of these options? They were bad, disgusting, ugly. That's what I'm trying to find out today. I took many weeks of my life to find a handful of levels that get progressively uglier and uglier. A few things to note is that the definition of an ugly level is bad decoration. The gameplay will not matter in this video, whether it's good or bad. This video consists of my opinions only, so feel free to discuss kindly in the comments. Please do not attack any creators, YouTubers, or literally anyone I mentioned in this video, and I will only be counting rated levels in this video, so a random recent tab level wouldn't count. So the first thing I did was look through my worst level series, because I remembered that a few levels I included in those videos were pretty ugly, and I decided to include 3 of those levels. Firstly, we have Melody, from my first video where I originally crowned it the worst JD level. The decoration for Melody has one big issue for me. It's very blinding. From the very beginning of the level, all of the decoration fades in. We have those fire effects, arrow decorations, sound wave decorations, very bright circle objects, very bright text, and the almost equally bright background. Instead of decorating the portals normally, it's just text. But I won't complain too much, since it's more about decoration and not about gameplay. In the next part, there's the addition of bright pulsing circles, and also the lyrics of the song on the top and bottom. There's also the addition of pointing arrows, but then there's also arrow decorations, so there's just way too many arrows. At the ball part, the background changes into bricks, and there's the new inclusions of these crystals. And near the end, we have these very bright chain chomps, with very bright blending bricks laying behind them. The level overall is too much, and it's a good contender for the ugliest Geometry Dash level. The next level I decided to pick was Laser Green, which was from the third and final part of my worst level series. I picked this level specifically because I remembered that some parts of the level were just really weird. As soon as you enter the level, we have those square decorations, a club step monster it seems, those spike decorations, those fire effects again, clouds, and a pinwheel that's following you at all times. When we continue playing the level, we see more of these clouds and random objects that seem to be everywhere. In this ball section, we have those monsters but with red eyes for some reason, these spike pillars, but using those square-shaped spikes, some player-colored deco, and weirdly enough this lava pool block. Later in this part, we have the word OMG spammed multiple times, and at 42% we have this, which I don't know if I can even say on YouTube. There also seems to be a pinwheel thing going on because they appear in the ship section as well. The level gets really dark for some reason at 70%, but then the level does go back to normal later on. This is also a really good contender for the ugliest JD level. And the last level I took from my worst level series was actually Midnight Sun. I remembered it being very ugly when I compared it to the other level Hellish Memory. Immediately we have this grass theme going on, however there's a really strange brick background at the beginning. There's a lot of glow, but it's not even on blending, and a lot of deco spammed on itself for the block design. Some notable things that are in this block design are those metallic looking blocks and this colored default block. Later on in this wave, there's some metallic rod objects, at least that's what I call them. At the drop, the level switches color from mostly green to mostly pink. It is all mostly basic blocks, but the background is very detailed. At the break section, it turns to a calm gray type color, but there are a lot of pinwheels and pulsing circle effects included. At the drop, there seems to be a mix of pink and orange and green using those metallic style blocks and blending colored bricks. At around 75%, there's just a mix of pinwheels, weird lines as blocks, and pinwheels. And then the only somewhat decent part is the end. So all 3 levels are really good contenders to be the ugliest GD level, but I decided to look elsewhere and do even more research. The first level I found was Death Machine. This was a level suggested for a video of mine, and I decided to take a look at it for this video. We have some saw decorations on the blocks with glow that isn't on blending. This weird red theme goes on until the robot part, with the green theme consisting of spammed saw decorations, a lot of clouds, and basic blocks. And then the ugly red theme comes back in this ball part, thankfully not as bad as the first part. And this bloodbath inspired part seems to go on for a while, including this mini ship which for some reason says zebra pants. There's a lot of saws, these spinny effects, monsters, and those wavy block designs. And at the drop, the level turns into a piss color. We have this mini wave which brought back the pinwheels, and an extremely bright bright UFO part. And at the end, we have blending red and gray bricks. Overall, this level is pretty ugly. Following that, we have Star Road, and you might recognize this level because I featured this exact level in a video where I complained about the standards of a rated level. This level is one of those really generic room platformers. The decoration consists of these flashing boxes, these spikes for some reason at the beginning, stars on top of those flashing boxes, a star particle effect, and a really generic but flashing background. This is a really generic level, but comparing this level to the other levels we have in this video, I think I'm going to disqualify Star Road. And then we have Improvement by Ballardales. He got famous over getting rated levels from really simple designs, and so I decided to pick this level. The level starts with really simple slope designs, invisible saws, and a background that most likely took one particle trigger. Then we have a dual ship part with really basic blocks and saws and yet another pinwheel. We then have this part which is actually quite cool. And then we have the drop, which is again really basic colored blocks with default saws. And then the final part, which is actually kind of cool. Again, some parts of this level are ugly, but I'm also disqualifying this. After that, we have a level I found by complete accident. I was searching for levels using the Phantom song, and then I found this level, the castle. And it might be the ugliest Geometry Dash level. Immediately, we start with really badly done brick designs, non-blending glow, I think dirt blocks inside the bricks, and weird designs inside the dirt. And a tree branch? There's just so much. There's even bricks covering the whole screen. And all the orbs have this weird rotating circle design. In the ship part, we have what I assume is magma blocks, a skull with a fireball behind, which I would call a boss fight, but look at it. I mean, it does shoot fireballs and monsters, so I guess it counts. In the spider part, we have purple lava, and there's green lava, which I assume is poison, and then normal lava. We also have a black skull for some reason following us, and a chain chomp randomly appears too. And then we technically reach the third boss fight, which is more normal with this monster, which spits out fireballs and more monsters. There's also random fire effects just by itself for some reason. I don't even know what's happening here. There's like green glow for some reason on these bricks. And then we reach the drop, and what is that block design? There's green puzzle blocks and red rocks, and what seems to be like a pull of poo. The wave part isn't any better, and it's just this weird texture block on top of plain yellow blocks. We then go to this robot with a weird green design, and then this ship with probably the best design in this entire level. Then we have some dark pink spikes with grey bricks and a green brick background. The UFO introduces some grass objects and yellow glow for some reason. We have this wave which includes these rock objects as the base of these slopes, and this design continues until the end of the level. I believe this is also very similar to Phantom, which is a really popular level using the same song. And the final level I found in my research was from a colon video. I don't remember which video sadly, because I found this level like a few months ago, but the level was Windfall. The level starts with the creator's name in red text, and then the brightest blue I've ever seen, with the grass ground, clouds, rainbows, and more monsters. There's also a pool of water, and now there's even more monsters, and the grass objects are moving around. And then we go to this ball part which has grey bricks as the background, along with those blocks from X-Step. We then return to this bright blue theme in the robot with the same rainbows and everything. And after that we reach a wave which looks eerily similar to that Cataclysm wave. We then reach the UFO, and what the hell? I don't know why, but we have the brightest rainbow blocks as decoration. And then the level just ends like that. So that's where I finished my investigation. But that's not all. I also asked my Discord server to send through what they thought was the ugliest Geometry Dash level. We have a few honorable mentions such as Marathon, Aleph Zero, and Carmelian, which left me with 3 different levels. The first level was actually suggested by Groundflower, which is XDD. The level starts with portals on top of the blocks, which is fine, I guess. And it seems like the creator just spammed portals and pads and also blocks, because look, this continues for almost the entire level, and then we have blue pads at the end. The next level was suggested by Rosto, which is Geography Dash. It's actually a pretty cool level. It is quite unpolished, but it consists of every single country in the world as a part of a level. So I immediately disregarded this, and I saved what I thought was the best, or shall I say the worst level, from my Discord suggestions. It's Tsunamo? I hope I said that correctly. There's a reason why I saved this level for last. We immediately start with yet another pinwheel. We also have that chain chomp monster, green colored grass blades, some flowers. The colors of the blocks do change into the rainbow based off of the song, which is quite neat. Later on, we are introduced to these chains, and then we have fire effects yet again, and some default ground spikes. We also have these spinny effects that's introduced after that. We then have this underwater part with what I assume are waves, and these blue colored fish. And I don't think clouds exist underwater. After that, we have these very blue brick blocks in the UFO part, and these spiky monsters for some reason. Then we go back to a cube with a similar part to the beginning, and then we get introduced to these X-step blocks yet again, and then the clouds turn pink for some reason. We then have this very long wait for the drop, and then we finally reach the drop. With underwhelming block design, honestly. It's not even like bad, it's just really generic. And then the final part is this duel with blue clouds again, but weird box blocks, and these weirdly red saws, and poop colored clouds. And then we reach the end. I don't know why that's how the level ends, but we just have to deal with it. Now, what is the ugliest Geometry Dash level from all of these levels that I've talked about? Well, I think it's an obvious decision, but the castle gets my crown for being the ugliest Geometry Dash level. If there are any uglier Geometry Dash levels you know, feel free to leave them in the comments below. But anyways, thank you for watching, and feel free to support me.